At some point I realized that I stopped saying hi in the beginning of my videos because it felt so awkward, and I hope that you guys don't mind and you still know that I'm happy to see you every time. So I'm well aware that most of the people come to my channel because of my borderline videos, and the most questions that I get and the most subscribers that I get are from the borderline videos, because probably there is not enough people who talk about it on the internet. And despite that, I kind of stopped talking about it a while ago, although I started mostly with the videos about borderline. And the reason for it is that I don't really struggle with it anymore, and I think that I have discussed most of the issues already, and I kind of don't see a point or a reason to make any more videos if you guys don't ask me any specific questions. So I wanted to give you an update of my recovery and how I'm feeling borderline wise, and share some thoughts about how it affects my life and relationships, and also give you some advice in the end of this video on the holidays and how to survive them if you are struggling with mental health. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder last year in August, so a little bit less than a year and a half ago. And then in May this year, I think that I kind of was officially recovered, so I didn't fit the criteria for this diagnosis anymore, and the specific targeted borderline treatment that I had stopped, although I still keep seeing my therapist from time to time, but it is not like a hardcore intensive therapy as it used to be for that 9 months amount of time. It has been a little bit over half a year since my official recovery happened, although of course it is a gradual progress, and of course they say that you cannot heal from a personality disorder, so you basically learn how to manage it, but honestly it really doesn't affect my life on an everyday basis anymore, because I sort of learned to implement the dialectical behavioral therapy principles into my life, and I don't even pay attention to it anymore, because in the beginning you have to pay attention to how you react to certain things and why you react this way, and you kind of have to recondition yourself to that. But nowadays it's not really a problem for me anymore, and I don't have any issues with using the rational mind and not the emotional one. And I think that the only thing that I really struggled with until now was depression, so I tried to go off my SSRI antidepressants a little bit earlier this year, and it was very clear that it's not the right time to do that, because I still probably do not produce the right amount of serotonin, because I felt really awful, and I started becoming more and more depressed. So I went back on a super little supportive dose of Zoloft, an SSRI antidepressant, and now I just feel really amazing. I seriously don't have anything to complain about for now. So I'm the kind of a person who sort of doesn't get triggered by people who I don't really know that much, or who are not really that close to me. So throughout my life I don't really get angry too easily. I can get annoyed pretty quick, but I'm very good at keeping it down, and then it goes away as quickly as it comes. So I never had the rage problem like a lot of borderline people do, and I was diagnosed with quiet borderline disorder, so it was kind of never an issue for me that I was excessively angry or anything. So there, nothing has changed. I think that I became a little bit less tolerable to other people's bullshit, so it's kind of a result of an increased self-esteem, and I will talk about it a little bit later. But I do not bend over backwards anymore to please other people just because I'm scared that they will leave me, and I put my needs and my priorities first. And I still am nice to other people, and I still think that you have to sometimes go out of your way to make other people people feel good, but you don't have to do it every time, and definitely your well-being should be always your first priority. And I now like stand by this, and I really take care of myself first, and it has given me really amazing results. As for self-harm, I haven't self-harmed since last October, I think, or like the beginning of November, so for over a year. Really happy about it. Even when I was depressed, I can't lie, I had these thoughts, because it used to help me really much in times when I felt super stressed or when I had overwhelming emotions. But I know that I will just never do it anymore, because I know how counterproductive it is, and it just destroys your body, and it's really not the way to go. So although I had some urges, I never went through with it. As for low self-esteem, when I was depressed, when I was off the medication, I did have way lower self-esteem than usual now, but it's obviously due to the depression, because low self-esteem is one of the symptoms. And now I have kind of a balanced self-image. Maybe it's not perfect, it's not ideal, but I like day to day, I don't have the days when I think that I'm the queen of the world, and then the next day I think that I'm the dust on the pavement. I kind of have more or less stable self-esteem. Of course it varies from day to day, but I think that everybody has like bad days and good days. So basically all of the symptoms that I used to have are now gone, and I would say that the most effect that the borderline disorder had on me probably was in my relationship. And I think that it's pretty common, because it is a disorder that affects your relationships first. And I was in a relationship when my borderline disorder kind of emerged, and when I was diagnosed with it. And in the beginning I had such low self-esteem that I just kept everything to myself, and it never bothered like anyone, because everything was directed inward and I only harmed myself. But then it kind of started affecting my relationship at some point, because I started getting more and more demanding, and I kind of gained more self-esteem, and I started externalizing my emotions, which affected the quality of my previous relationship, and it led to the relationship ending. I don't want to say that it was only because of the borderline, because there were some other issues, but the thing is that now I don't really have people in my life that really struggle from the disorder, because people that I'm not planning my future together with, or if it's not like a really close member of my family, I don't really have problems with anything they say or do, because it's just not that important to me. Maybe it doesn't sound really good, or that like I do care about my friends, but I just don't really pay attention to like a slight remark that they can make, and before it might have hurt me, now it doesn't. And if it's not a person that is one of the most important people in your life, for me it doesn't really make any sense to invest emotionally too much in that, because people can say stuff, people can do stuff, people can be late. Before, I would think that if a person is late to a meeting with me, then they just want to dump me, or they disrespect me. And I had a huge issue with people being late. And now I recently met a friend, and he was like 40 minutes late, and I of course was angry because I don't want to wait, but I didn't feel betrayed, or I didn't feel like he gave up on me. I thought, well, probably he has a good reason to be late, or like maybe something happened to him, and I didn't take it personally. And I was really glad about it, because I used to struggle a lot with being easily offended, being easily influenced by other people's emotions, and now it is not an issue anymore. I hope that it doesn't sound like I'm bragging about how good I'm doing, or like whatever, how cool I am, because of course I do have bad days, and of course I have sometimes low self-esteem, sometimes I have emotions that like go through the roof. But honestly, I'm just making this video to let you guys know that recovery is possible, and that it happens if you work on it, and that your life can be absolutely normal and absolutely fine. if you really like put your mind into it, and if you're lucky enough to have medication and therapy. But even if you don't, you can still take steps to make your life better and to increase the quality of your life, such as doing dialectical behavioral therapy that you can do on your own. There are resources on the internet where you can learn about it. There are workbooks that you can fill out. Helped me immensely. I had a great therapist. We did cognitive behavioral therapy together. It was so helpful, very painful in the beginning, but it was extremely helpful. And just positive outlook on life, I think, helps, because if you don't believe that you can recover, although there were times in my life when I didn't believe that I can recover, I think that I was just raised like more or less a positive person, and my parents kind of taught me to hope for the best and to expect good things from life. So it was kind of natural for me to believe in that. And also my therapist always encouraged me, and she said that like, don't listen to the people who say that it's incurable, don't listen to the people who say that you cannot get rid of borderline disorder. And well, her support also helped me a great deal. Now I want to briefly talk about the approaching holidays and about the mental health related issues that can arise during holidays. So I'm pretty sure that Christmas time and New Year's time is a time when people commit most suicides, and that I remember how bad I felt last year during this time, because everyone was really festive and it's like a family time where all the relatives come together and celebrate, and there was so much drama in my family, and I didn't want to see certain members of my family, and it was really hard just to see other people happy and feel so much less than the others, and just feel so horrible for yourself, because it is the time to be happy and festive and celebrate, and I didn't want to do any of that. I just didn't want to see people. I was so sad, I was so depressed, and seeing all this festivity and being pressured to celebrate and give gifts and just do all this stuff, it makes you feel so much worse. And I can totally understand why the suicide rates increase. My first advice that I can give is to take care of yourself first, and I cannot really stress this enough. It is so important to put your mental health and your well-being in the top of your priority list, because you have to take responsibility for your well-being, and no one else knows how you feel, because other people can empathize with you, but they never will actually feel the way you feel, because it's just impossible. And you have to just take care of yourself. If you don't want to go to parties, if you don't want to go to celebrate, you do not owe anything to anyone. If you struggle with money or gift giving, just explain yourself to other people. Like last year I had no money, so I crafted some things and I gave them as a present, and it was actually quite nice, and it helped me relax and sort of find a balance in this hard time, and it really improved my mood. So if you are into creativity and if you are into like doing something on your own, you can definitely do that, and it's also a great therapeutical experience, and I definitely recommend doing that. Sometimes when you are depressed, you just cannot be bothered to do anything, and I totally understand, and it's definitely okay if you don't want to craft or whatever. Just try to feel better and use the most healthy ways to achieve that. If you don't want to be around your family because your family is toxic, you don't have to. You can celebrate with your friends, you can be alone. Just do the things that make you feel good, and I'm pretty sure that you will go through the holidays with as much cheer as you can master. So I have talked for a long enough time. I hope that you found this video helpful, maybe educational. I wish you a very nice December and a very nice week. I will see you in the next video. Love you guys so much. Be nice humans, and goodbye.